spots in the area, Mike and Stu have the answer. With a combined half-century in the industry, they bring their wealth of experience to bring you the latest trends, expert opinions, and interviews with people in the know. They are the dynamic duo of dining. It's a wine and food show, Stu. It's a food and wine show, trust me. Right here at Sip and Chew, it's wine and food. Because chew rhymes with stew. That's the only reason I glorified fry cook and grape killer. Now it's time to Sip and Chew with Mike and Stu on FM Talk 106.5.
Good morning. Welcome to Sip and Chew with Mikeless Stu. It was a cool Sunday morning, and now it is a steamy Sunday afternoon. Who knows what the evening holds? Well, everyone survived the storms yesterday. Noticed that a lot of people were like, wow, an inch and a half of rain in 20 minutes and damaging winds and lightning popping everywhere. Let's get in the car and drive somewhere.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was unbelievable how many people sat around home all day until the weather got way too dangerous to be driving somewhere.
That was the same way where I grew up. It seemed like everybody get curious when the snow fell. It's like, okay, what are the neighbors doing? Why?
Yeah. So I am here. Mike is in Kansas City. I don't know if he's in Missouri or Kansas, but I want to apologize to the residents of both states on his behalf.
Think we'll hear from him today?
No.
You don't
Yeah, I get a text message from him last night about 11:30. Hey, I'll call in at 11:15. 5 minutes ago, I get, yeah, I'm not going to make it. Yeah, he's doing stuff with family. Went out there for a wedding, and our good buddy Stretch Ruminar, who is a chef out in Kansas City, who was down here with Guy when Guy came through, gave him a list of places to try.
That's
including, of course, including Stretch's own restaurant.
Oh, of course.
But so when he gets back next week, I'm probably going to shut up and let him do most of the talking. So,
which is only fair. This week you'll be doing the majority of talking.
Yeah, and you'll just have to suffer through, folks. I've had a summer cold since 4th of July.
I was going to say about 6 weeks.
Yeah, most of the summer, and it's just one of those things. The doctor says just common cold, but as long as the temperature changes drastically in your life, get used to it. So I will be choking on Halls, and I would be choking on Ricola. This is a food story for you.
Okay.
I went to take a shower, and when I came back out, my blackmouth cur had decided those smell like food.
Oh, no.
And there were pieces of the bag left.
But there was
no cough drops, no wrappers.
How many were left? Doesn't really matter after about 3, right?
None. She wiped out about 10 or 15.
What was the effect there? Did you have to
I don't know. She's got an iron gut, man. The day before, she ate about 20 napkins. And the day after, I had a folder with my income tax stuff on it.
Oops.
And the manila folder is gone completely. She ate the entire manila folder. And then there's a bite mark out of each tax document. Now, luckily, everything was filed.
Right.
But every now and then, she just decides I'm not feeding her enough. And she will eat anything that she can chew. So,
wow.
3 very loud scoldings, and she kind of realized,
I don't want to go there.
I get 2 meals a day plus snacks all day long. I probably don't need to eat tax documents.
We adopted a new kitty here from, I guess it's been about 3 weeks ago now. Now we're starting to see
the personality starting to. Yeah, because when I adopted Luke, they said the personality you're going to get is not his personality.
No.
Give it 10 days.
At least 2 weeks, yeah.
He was actually pretty on point, though.
Yeah.
It was the coolest feeling. I went up the Mobile County veterinary place where when you adopt a dog, I don't know about cats, but I'm sure it's the same. They have to be spayed or neutered.
Yes.
Before they'll let you adopt.
Yeah.
And so they had to do all of that. So I didn't get to meet him until he was done with the surgery. And it was time to take possession of it. He came out in this crowded waiting room and ran right to me.
Oh,
he knew exactly which human was his.
Yeah.
And bonded instantly. Took him out to a little park there in Sims so that he could meet Molly, my other big dog, on neutral ground. because I understand that's the best way to, because Molly's naturally going to be defensive of a new
Sure,
dog,
that makes sense.
and he doesn't know what's going on. So they hit it all fine out there. Neatest thing is I'm waiting on my friend to come there with my other dog.
Mhm.
So I walk him to the edge of the lake to see if he wants to take a little drink. Dude walks all the way out till he's up to his elbows, and then just stands and looks around.
Like, I'm home.
Yeah, just hey, this is cool.
Nice.
Well, Luke is the best trail dog.
What kind of dog is he?
He is a blue healer.
Oh, yeah.
Very intelligent dog breed.
Yes.
High energy, so you have to walk him a good deal.
Oh, yeah.
Or else he could get destructive.
Yeah, I was going to say, he'd tear up the house quicker than.
Yeah. But he doesn't eat anything. He just tears it up. Molly literally
destroys it.
Yeah. And
what kind of dog is she?
She is a black-mouthed cur mostly.
Cur. Okay.
Which is a hunting dog that was bred in Tennessee and the Carolinas for birds.
Okay.
So when I had a girlfriend and we had a cat, the cat had toys that sounded like birds. And Molly could not resist, and she ate them all.
Oh.
Instantly.
Wow.
And it was so funny because she was like, long as we got bookshelves in here, if they get into a tussle, he can get out of her reach.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Okay. Then I got Luke and didn't have the cat then anymore or the girlfriend. And and I started watching Luke. There's no place in that house a cat would be safe from Luke, because he has climbed my floor to ceiling bookshelves before trying to get to a mosquito.
Oh, wow.
Jumps to the top of them. I mean, it's just incredible, his physical ability.
Yeah.
And just a great dog. He's really the first dog that I have felt a kindred to. I love the dogs that I've had before, which was two more that I've had in the last couple of years, and then a 35, 40-year gap with no dogs because I lived in apartments.
Oh, yeah.
And when I finally got a house, I got dogs.
Yeah.
And Luke is the first one that I've really bonded with since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I had all the rest of them have been strays. Luke is the first dog I've ever purchased. The others have all been, as they call them now, rescues. But
yeah, they came in and made it home.
Yeah, they walked in the arm. That's how my dad got Molly, the black-mouthed curs. The house that he lived in was at the bottom of a hill of a dirt road in a quiet neighborhood. So we got all our dogs free because idiots would come and dump them.
Right.
And that's what happened with Molly. And the other dog that my dad had at the time, he named Katrina because she wandered in the yard the day after Katrina.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he named her after the storm. And don't know if she was dumped, if the winds picked her up or what.
Right.
Katrina was the sweetest dog.
Yeah.
Just so sweet. And Molly, when she was young, was the one that's got to jump on everybody. And Katrina would grab her by the ankle and drag her away from anybody that was visiting. It was just incredible to watch.
It's amazing the personalities, in animals. You don't think about it if you're not involved. But you get, this is like we named this one Indy for Indiana Jones, because out of the litter.
Because they named the dog Indiana.
Well, that too. We named the cat Indiana.
Yeah.
But that's fine. But long story short, he was very adventuresome from all the litter of the five. He was the first one to get out and just explore all over. His eyes weren't even open. He's like exploring, trying to figure out. He's that way now, and he's really energetic and all over. Everything.
Curious.
Yeah. We found out what a squirt bottle is.
That learning the squirt bottle thing is the best thing. Luke, I can scream at him. Doesn't really matter because he just thinks I'm excited and having fun.
Right.
But if I point that squirt bottle at him, he settles right down. He is not a fan of getting squirted in the face with water.
Andy's getting to that point already, and it's only been a week or so.
Yeah. And because I never want to hit him. Now Molly, when she ate, the first thing she ate with the napkins was also a dish rag. So I walk in, there's a dish rag with a hole in the middle of it. So the things that are really soft, I'll pop her in the head with.
Okay.
But because I know it doesn't hurt. At all.
Yeah.
But that is as far as I would ever go because it doesn't do any good.
The challenge is going to be teething.
Oh well, Molly's at the point now where she's losing her teeth, so that's not a problem. All right. All right, folks, 251-343-0106. We got lots to talk about, including the Nappy Awards. So if you want to text us, if you want to call us, we'll see what we can do.
of Tennessee, they like the smoky sauce. But over there in old Memphis, I drive up Ribbis balls. Folks down in Georgia, they can't make up their mind. For more than 50 years, Mobile Bay Magazine has showcased the history, style, arts, dining, and entertainment that defines excellence on both sides of Mobile Bay. Each month's issue is filled with our unique Southern Alabama culture, beautifully captured and told through engaging articles and stunning photography. When you subscribe to Mobile Bay Magazine, you'll be swept into the pages where recipes, familiar places and faces, and untold stories abound. Start your journey today by visiting mobilebaymag.com. That's mobilebaymag.com.
My dogs, whatever. I try and feed them real dog food and stuff. But if I got macaroni and cheese left over, I'm not throwing it away.
And any one of them could be a cyber attack.
We've done that forever. There's certain things we know we have to
Is it
watch.
possible to keep your small business safe?
Yeah.
It is with Comcast Business Security Edge. It helps keep your connected devices protected, and you can monitor threat activity in real time. So this security is the last thing you need to worry about. With Comcast Business, advanced security is just possible.
My sister
It's
has
happening.
a Maltese that
Get
has a
started with
thyroid
fast
problem.
speeds and advanced security
Maltese is
for
only getting,
$39 a month
the
for
biggest
12
ones,
months
like
with
8 or
no
9
annual
pounds. This dog
contract.
is 20
Plus,
pounds.
ask out up to a $500
And,
prepaid card with a qualifying
they
gig
said,
bundle. Call
give
or
her
online
half
today to
can
learn
of
more. Offer ends
green
7/23/2023.
beans every day.
Restrictions apply.
And she
Requires
loves them.
paperless billing
She
and
thinks she
automatic
hit the
payments for
lottery.
new 100 megabits per second internet and security
But
edge
that,
customers
my
only.
old
Equipment
Yorkie
installation
loves
taxes and other
cold
fees extra and subject to change.
Really
After 12 months,
loves
regular rates apply.
which worked out
Hey,
great.
it's
'Cause I
Sean
can't
and my buddy
stand
Joey
cold
with
water.
Mason Hills Farm back in the studio. What's been going on? Well, Sean, I've been
We're
reading
getting one in the
and
south
watching
talking
on the
into a
news
flaw
that the
dog.
USDA has
No,
just approved
my
lab-grown
wife
meat
tried
to
it.
be sold in the
It's like
grocery
taking a
stores.
hot
Yeah, I
dog
saw
and
that.
then
This
ruining
sounds
it.
disgusting. How
Well,
does this
now,
affect
you
what
know,
we end
we
up
have
feeding our
two
families? Well,
versions
Sean,
of
here's what's going
dogs
on.
out of
The big
Chicago
packers,
and
along with a lot of mail order meat suppliers,
I'm
all work
pretty
together,
traditional when it
and the
comes to-
quality
I
of
like
beef
really-
is sacrificed as a
I
result.
like,
Pretty soon it's going to be hard to
cooking-
tell what's real and what's not.
I like
The
to
only way to
cook
know
them.
is to buy
Well, what's the
locally.
deal?
Also,
I
since
got
we
to
dry
really,
age our
really-
beef, you're getting
People
more
up
value
north
for
are
your
like,
dollar. So why is that?
detective on hot
Because
dogs.
in the drying
Well, not by
process,
itself,
we
you
have
have
the
to have
ability
mayonnaise.
to actually sell you
Now the
beef
mayonnaise
and
and
not
ketchup,
water. And
that's
great
great,
beef
but I
at that, I
wouldn't do
can
it on a
attest to
Nathan
it.
Brothers.
Also,
We
like
do
the
that
fact
on
that you can
our
have it delivered. So talk to folks about that delivery process. You go to masonhillsfarm.com, click around, look at the different packages, build your own, and you are correct. We'll bring it to you. Y'all do what I do and order your beef with Mason Hills Farm and masonhillsfarm.com. Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Join me weekdays for This Morning, America's First News. Hear the stories we'll be talking about and searching for all day as we go beyond the headlines and above the chatter. Your first look at breaking news, money, Washington politics,
so many
technology,
people hear that
entertainment,
I'd like to do the crock
entrepreneurship,
pot
and
pot.
sports.
Yeah,
We
but
explain
that's not
why
true.
stories
Really?
matter. That's why we are referred
You
to
need
as the most
anything you
important
put in a
and
crock pot,
relevant
you need to
radio
put in
program.
something else.
Join us weekdays for This Morning,
Brown in
America's
an iron
First News.
skillet, coated in flour. Yeah. Then you get a gravy.
Get on the line. Call 343-0106. Now back to Mike and Stu.
Hey, this is Stu. You're listening to Sip and Chew with Mike and Stu. Mike is in Kansas City gorging on barbecue and pizza.
Barbecue and pizza?
Yeah, well, Stretch owns a pizza place. And they gave him a list of barbecue places to hit. So Mike is probably knee deep in burnt ends as we speak, which if you haven't had, you probably have living out in Kansas in that area. Did you ever get to Kansas City and do the burnt ends?
No.
It's traditionally when you have this giant brisket,
Mhm.
the ends are going to get burnt
Right.
to get the rest of it done.
Right.
Well, it's delicious char, it's flavor.
Yeah.
So they would cut off those ends, and if they had some, you request it. Now they'll take an entire brisket, dice it up, throw it back in, and burn the individual pieces to get that kind of thing. And then you'll see pork burn ends, and they're just disappointing compared to
Maybe
brisket.
they did them. I just never really
Didn't even know what it was.
Right.
Yeah. That's good too. You just had good barbecue.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank our sponsors, of course. Mike, I know, is missing his daily visit to
Fat and happy.
the corner of Fat and Happy. Bob's Downtown Restaurant is the official name, but we all call it Bob's Downtown Diner, right? It's have you been yet? Have you taken the wife?
I have not, but I saw that they did get a good award out of the napkins.
Oh yeah. 7 days a week, breakfast and lunch, or if you prefer brunch.
Mhm.
So if you need 7 o'clock in the morning, you need steak and eggs, which is the Bailey breakfast,
Okay.
and a shot of Jameson. They're there for you.
Gotcha.
You know, it's the way to start a morning.
I like everything up to the Jameson, but that's
Uh,
the Mikey brand. I got
Oh well, no, Mike's
Oh.
Mike's the wine and beer guy. I'm the whiskey guy,
I got you.
but they got it all. You can have your Bloody Mary. How about that?
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. And
My
we
wife
also
can
want to
have
thank
that.
the fine folks at Hall Sausage out in Chickasaw, the makers of, if you haven't tried it yet, the venison and smoked pork sausage.
That I will want to try. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. You can get that usually at Piggly Wiggly's. The one at Forest Hill, the one in Saraland had the best selection.
But the one on is it Piggly Wiggly just went up there on Moffett?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
Forest Hill.
okay.
That's what that's called,
Forest Hill,
Forest
okay.
Hill, that
Okay.
area. Or Overlook. They kind of all budded together.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the one I shop at most of the time
Mhm.
because it's closest to the house there in Sims.
Right.
But try that venison sausage. Try the mango habanero.
That sounds good.
That's really good. It's got some kick, as you would
Yeah,
imagine.
Yeah.
But I mean, not overwhelmingly hot. It's just enough so that you
Hot
know,
and sweet.
yeah, hot and sweet. And sweet is always a good balance. In fact, there's it's kind of like a smoothie that this restaurant in New York serves
Mhm.
because they have the hottest curry in New York.
Right.
And this mango smoothie helps kill that fire
Ooh.
because of the sugar. I saw that on, what was the show? It was Aaron Sanchez and Roger Mooking. Aaron is a chef in New Orleans. Roger's from Canada.
Okay.
But Aaron, as you would imagine, his mother is one of the great Mexican chefs of all time. And Roger has an interesting ethnicity. He is Trinidad and Tobagan on one side and Chinese on the other.
Wow. That
so
is interesting.
fiery foods have been, and he's from Canada.
That's what I'm saying. It's very diverse. Yeah.
Yeah. So fiery foods have been a big part of it. And that may have even been the name of the show, Fiery Foods. But they would go to different cities and try the hottest food in the cities. And that's where I saw the one on the curry in New York with the mango smoothie.
I got you.
And they were killing those mango smoothies. But apparently between the mango and the dairy, because lactose, the sugar that's in milk,
Mhm.
is the best thing in the world to
Helps
diffuse
coat
the heat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It breaks it up. Anything carbonated, like a Coca-Cola or a beer, is the worst thing to
Opens
chase
up.
hot food. The carbonated water bonds with the capsaicin and makes it stay on your tongue.
Really?
Yeah, it makes it much worse.
That makes sense. Well, they always tell you if you're going to eat something hot, like you're doing hot wings, something like that. That's
Sure.
why you have the celery and the other. But
Yeah, and
I
the-
never noticed that.
The dairy for the blue cheese.
Right.
You dip the celery and the carrots in the dairy, or if you're
Or even
uncouth,
eating crackers
branch,
and
yeah.
bread.
Yeah.
That helps to tone it down.
Right. But sugar is your best thing to diffuse that.
Okay.
And we also want to mention the fine folks over at Le Bouchon Wine and
Le
Tapas
Bouchon.
Bar. And with Mike out of town, we get to say the name correctly. It's not tapas. 11 years, and he's still calling it tapas. But it's tapas. And as I've explained to him for tapas, it's because they would put a piece of bread on top of your glass of sherry.
Ah,
And then they're like, well, can I get more than just a piece of bread? And that's when, and this is from Spain,
uh-huh.
they would experiment with, pickled shrimp or usually something very salty, something very acidic.
Okay.
And that's where tapas comes from. And it meant,
Top
it
of.
was- to keep the flies out. This is during the days pre-air conditioning.
Okay.
And Spain is big on after work, you don't have a beer, you don't have a glass of wine, you have sherry,
Okay.
which is a culture I'd really like to explore better. I mean, I'm fine with the Taylor sherry that you get for like $10 at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to try some good sherry.
Which is $100 a bottle or better. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have no idea. Even Mike said it's not a wine product that he's ever delved much into.
Interesting.
So and I just think it would be interesting. I just noticed a new search bar on my computer that I never installed, so I'm not happy with Bing right now.
Distractions.
Yeah, but you can get wine and tapas at Le Bouchon, and as Mike says, Dave's famous pimento cheese, not pimento, pimenta. And I don't know what a pimenta is, but it's the secret to Dave's cheese. So get over there.
My wife's definitely a pimento cheese fan.
Yeah.
She'll take a pimento cheese sandwich any day.
I did a burger when I was the chef at Lucky. I used to do a burger of the week.
Mhm.
And I did one that I called the antebellum. And it had comeback sauce, which is Mississippi for Thousand Island with hot sauce in it. Shredded lettuce, which is something I almost never do because I don't like iceberg.
Really?
Yeah, it has no nutritional value and there's no flavor, but the crunch is terrific.
Yeah, that's what I like.
And then I would top it with pimento cheese,
Mhm.
bacon, and fried dill pickles.
Wow.
All these things of the South.
Definitely. No fried okra in there though.
No, the fried okra is for the gumbo.
Oh, okay.
I often do that when I run into people who say, I love gumbo, but I don't like okra. And well, technically it's not gumbo without okra because it means okra.
Really?
But people who don't like okra
I'm getting an
do
education this morning.
like fried okra. So I will, in those situations, I make the gumbo without the okra in it, and then I serve fried okra as a garnish on top. And I'd like to take credit for that, but I saw Bobby Flay do it.
Okay.
And I thought that's a good idea for people who just don't like okra. Because I've got so many friends who are like, yeah, I like my gumbo without okra. Well, I don't make gumbo without okra, but I think you'll like the okra I use. And then they get the fried okra and they're like, yeah, this is wonderful. So,
Interesting.
nice little compromise there. Oh, look at me or hear me. I also want to mention the fine folks at Butch Cassidy's Cafe, our good friend Roy Sieber, the mayor of Floshell. They are busy.
You've been down there for what I understand for the past few months working.
Yeah, just helping out now and then
Yeah.
when Roy's shorthanded. So I've been in there and seen some of his secrets. And he scratch makes everything, man.
Everything.
People don't know how much is he's just. Well, yeah, I could buy collard greens, but I'd rather make them. Okay. So get on down to Butch Cassidy's Cafe and check it out. You never know. I may be in there. I mean, never there at night. I just usually help out at lunch now,
Oh, okay.
which is part of the cough.
Right.
I'm the guy on the burger, so I'm inhaling smoke all the time.
Oh boy. In and out of heat, in and out of cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
This time
And
of year.
then, when I'm cooking the burgers, that's 85 degrees. When I turn around to get the bread, that's 75 degrees.
Mm.
And I do that 2 or 3 dozen times an hour. So my
Right.
temperature is constantly changing.
Yeah.
And then about 6 times a shift, I have to run back to a room that's 40 degrees and grab more stuff.
Right.
So that's what the doctor said. Just get used to it.
Right.
It's going to be with you a little while.
Yeah.
So never had a fever or anything like that. So everything's good. But Roy is he's one of the best restaurateurs in town, which is proven by his success of 30 years there.
Yeah.
And he just takes good care of his people. He really does. He cares about every employee that he has. And I've had a lot of places that I've worked where they didn't care if you lived or died, honestly.
Right. Well, that's
And-
most, seems like.
Yeah. And so there are some restaurateurs in this town that I look up to because of that. Roy Sieber's one of them. Panini Pete and Nick DeMario.
Right.
They take great care of their people. Bob Omansky with Wenzel's, Alec Naaman's Catering.
Right.
These are gentlemen that I look up to because I've worked side by side with them, and they've set the example of what you should be. Now, you may have issues where you don't like their food or their service or something like that, and that's understandable, but that's separate from how they take care of their people.
Right. And how they own their business, how they run their business.
Right, exactly. You have no idea how much these men give to this community because they're true philanthropists. They don't want you to know. No one needs to know when you're a philanthropist.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we're up against another commercial break. When we get back, we're going to talk about some nappy winners and how Mobile seems to be waking up a little and how to pick a brunch restaurant. Because it's, 251-343-0106.
FM
The
Talk
best brunch
1065,
category
the
has
Gulf
bothered
Coast
me
Weather
for
Authority, and
years.
Dr. Bill
Because they
Williams.
pick
Gulf Coast can expect
Britain
mostly
State.
cloudy skies today
Terrible.
with showers and
You
thunderstorms.
cannot
Highs will be
cut
around
their
90
10
degrees
states to the
tonight.
springtime.
A few showers and thunderstorms, lows
I
in the
mean,
lower
it's
70s.
just
From Los
terrible.
Angeles, sunny
And
with
it's not
scattered
like
rain,
that.
showers and thunderstorms.
Britain
Highs
State.
in the lower 90s.
Yeah.
Here,
And Ruby
Officer
Slipper
Dr. Bill
is
for
better,
FM Talk
but it's
1065.
not local.
FM Talk
And one of the issues
1065,
that I have
the
with
Gulf Coast Weather
radio
Authority.
is I want you to have one category, best chain restaurant,
Everything that's not the mobile is in that.
Right. That's right. You
So
voted
somebody
for all of your
wants to
favorite bars,
nominate
restaurants, bands,
KFC
media
as
folks,
the
and
best
just
fried
about
chicken in
everything
Mobile.
else
You
during
can vote
LATNAP's
for
21st Annual Reader's
KFC.
Choice Awards. We've been counting and counting, and now the
Yeah.
count is done. And in the new issue of LATNAP on Stands Now, we reveal all of the winners in the 2023 NAPI Awards. See who was named Best Mobilian right now, and Best Butts and Guts Doctor. See who was voted as your favorite hairstylist and podcaster, and what our readers voted to eat as their last meal on Earth, and so much more. In addition to the winners, you'll find all of the usual unusual news, commentary, cuisine, sports, and arts and entertainment coverage you've come to expect from Alabama's largest weekly newspaper. So pick up a Lagniappe today or venture to
Build an
lagniappemobile.com
algorithm
and keep
that
Mobile
plugs that
working.
into and it scores.
Nappy time.
Yeah,
Nappy time. That's right. Hey, this is Louis Radham. Got a lot about it. If you need to get rid of a car, give us a call. 251-476-4141. Ask for Gene
Yeah, but
Stuckey.
you're
Give
hiring
him the
a human
VIN and the
builder.
miles.
I mean,
Give you a
it's a
great
database.
price on it.
Well, yeah, I am that way, but I mean,
251-476-4141.
Have you noticed
Well,
that
that came around
behaviors
talking
become
about
normalized in interscholastic athletic events? Some
Oh,
feel
yeah.
angry,
All
they
animals
lack
are.
civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly.
Yeah,
Time
all
out.
animals are at
What
heart
is
lazy.
going on?
But think
This
about it.
has to stop.
Coyote would rather
Let's not
come and
forget
take the
school
rabbit
sports
that
aren't
you
just
just
about
killed
winning.
than
And
to
they're
take them
definitely
to
not an
eat it
excuse to
yourself.
take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can fully grow as people, not just as players. We
I've
all
always
have
told
a
people
role
if
to
you
play
want
in
to have
setting a
job
good example
security,
for our students and
be the
teaching
person
them
that
these
fixes
important
things out.
values.
Right.
So
My
fans,
brother
it's
taught me
time to
that.
step up your game
My
and
dad
behave
was
positively at interscholastic athletic
Well,
events
no,
in
I would-
Alabama.
This message presented by the AHSAA and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association. The brand new FM Talk 1065 app, now on iTunes and Google Play. Stream your favorite live shows. Grab a podcast, stay local wherever you are with the FM Talk 1065 app. Available now on iTunes and Google Play. To get on the line, call 343-0106. Now back to Mike and Stu.
And you're listening to Sip and Chew with Mike and Stu without Mike. Mike is in Kansas City, going to a wedding, hanging out with the family, and eating more barbecue than one man should eat in one sitting.
Yeah, he'll be 5 pounds heavier at least when we come see him next week.
Yeah, which is, almost what the doctor told him to do. He said, lose weight. And Mike thought he said, don't lose weight. But
I don't think so.
when you're in a place like Kansas City that is as famous for barbecue as they are, and they are one of the kings of it, you've got Texas, you've got Kansas City, you've got the Memphis area of Tennessee, and you've got the Carolinas. And those are the highlights. Everybody else does distinctive stuff. Alabama's a great barbecue state, and it kind of has a little of everything. And but though the other ones are the ones that are pretty much considered the heart and soul of American barbecue, which all barbecue is American.
Right. Okay.
And then other countries do their version of it. Korea does a wonderful barbecue. That's their style. California has a distinctive type of barbecue. It's done around Santa Rosa, which is where Guy Fieri has a lot of his restaurants. It is a tri-tip sirloin.
Okay.
It is not slow smoked. It is more grilled over hot coals, but it's delicious.
See, we were talking during a break about how when I was raised, I was just burnt out on roast beef, which down here you call pot roast.
Right.
And you said not to crock pot it.
Don't start it in the crock pot.
Okay.
To do a really good pot roast, you should coat the meat with flour, salt, and pepper. What you're doing is you're setting up a crust, put it in an iron skillet preferably, and just brown it. It's only going to take about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Then throw that into the crock pot.
I got you.
The vegetables should be dusted with a little bit of flour too. And what happens is as it slow cooks, that flour continues to absorb liquid. It will never stop absorbing liquid. So when you get done, you don't have the meat and the vegetables floating in broth. You have it floating in gravy.
I got you.
And gravy is the secret to it. The other thing with pot roast, the two best parts of pot roast are the roast and the carrots. The carrots in pot roast to me get them just tender, nice and sweet. To me, it's a toss up which is better.
So we did potatoes. Everything-
Potatoes go in there
and
too, but
carrots.
they're to help fill you up.
Right.
The carrots actually taste good. Traditionally, you're going to have onion, celery, potatoes, and carrots,
Right.
or anything else chunky that you like. But the
Okay.
carrots are really what set that off.
See, I've always had a hard time with carrots.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't like it too much. I don't like it too crunchy.
Yeah.
That's just a personal texture
Oh,
thing.
with pot roast, you want them to get as tender as the beef. They should have the same texture.
Because my beef, I want it almost melt in your mouth, water, almost.
And that's how the carrots are.
Okay.
You just bite into them and it just spreads across your palate, swallow it on down. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I need to make a good pot roast sometime.
How does barbecue come in with, pot roast? How is that any family similarity or?
Probably both influenced by German immigrants. The barbecue in Texas was largely a combination of the indigenous way of cooking and German immigrants who were butchers.
Right.
And that's why you see so much of beef in Texas barbecue. And then pot roast is going to be
Midwest in general. I mean, it's
right.
Where I'm from. So
Yeah.
my original background family's name is Kleinzerge. That's definitely German. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
the other thing with pot roast is, and barbecue they have in common, like beef brisket, it's a very tough cut of meat. To eat it, you have to low and slow. Well, you generally, now we use chuck now for pot roast because that fattiness is good, but it's still a cut that you have to cook low and slow to get it proper and to get it tender. Now, all of those tough pieces of meat, if you cook them right, low and slow, become the most flavorful meat on the cow.
But you've got to do it low and slow.
Right.
To
You
get
have, yeah.
to get the savory.
To pull everything out of it. Not only does it break it down so it's tender enough that you can chew, when you break down the connective tissue, which is what makes it tough,
right,
that turns into gelatin. And that's what gives it that lip smacking. You want to lick your fingers. You want to lick anything it drops on.
That's part of the gravy, though, that actually.
Right.
Okay.
Builds into the gravy.
I got you.
Yeah.
What in Mobile locally is the barbecue? Obviously, besides everybody calls it Dreamland.
Dreamland is a North Alabama style barbecue. It is kind of like I was talking about the Santa Rosa style in California. It's not a slow smoke. It's more of a grill.
Okay.
A little higher heat. They still get it slow enough that it's still tender. I've had some ribs at Dreamland that just blew me away. And then I've had some ribs that were just fine.
Right.
Their sauce is more of a Memphis style. It's not very sweet. In fact, one of their sayings is they were low carb before low carb became a thing.
Right.
And I think a regular serving theirs has like 5 carbohydrates. It's very vinegary, which I love. I much prefer that to, and I brought it up many times. The worst barbecue sauce I've ever had is Sweet Baby Ray's. It's horrific.
Really?
It doesn't belong on meat. It belongs on waffles or a cake. It's so sweet. It's like chocolate syrup.
I got you.
But a lot of people love it, and a lot of people,
in our fridge.
right? A lot of it. Now, I have tinkered with some of their other flavors, and they're fine. And if you take hot sauce and add it to regular Sweet Baby Ray's, you get a really good sauce then.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a Tabasco?
Louisiana hot. Usually
Okay.
But the vinegar is what it's missing. There's not enough vinegar in Sweet Baby Ray's to me to consider it barbecue sauce.
Okay.
It's just a bunch of sugar.
I got you.
And there's no complexity to it. But
Getting back to
the meat boss, and that ties us in with the Nappies. They won best barbecue and best barbecue sauce.
Deservedly, yeah.
It's very good, very good. Now, my personal pick, and Mike's also, is Bay Barbecue, which is right across the street from Butch Cassidy's.
Oh, okay.
On Florida Street.
Yeah.
I think it's just Monday through Friday lunch. What Arthur does there is really a more gourmet approach to barbecue than anything else in the area.
How's that?
It's just the spices that he uses.
Okay.
And I don't know what they all are, and I don't ask because that's what Arthur does. But his erotic rub.
I thought you were meaning when you say gourmet as a presentation, all that. But
he does a really nice presentation, has some cool stuff, but his rubs and the spices he puts in his sauce are just different. That's the best way to put it. It's just a little.
That's a little
fancy.
red check that they just We're over across the street, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right across the street from Butch's.
Okay.
And like I say, I think it's Monday through Friday. I think he's doing some renovations right now.
Mhm.
But I love Bay Barbecue. I also love. Let's see. There's two. There's Rogers, which is in Tomanville,
Okay.
and then his daughter, Jay Rogers, which is in Saraland. And their barbecue is not the same. They're both very good. It's very classic Alabama, Southern Alabama, slow cook, molasses-based sauce, so it's brown more than red,
Right.
and they're delicious. And then with J. Rogers, they also do a hot bar lunch that is just one of the few buffets that I'll go to. It ain't cheap, but it's good. The ones that are cheap aren't good.
Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are some really good ones. Baldwin County has a lot of great barbecue places. There's one in Citronelle that I want to get back to called, I love the name, Grill Billies.
Group.
And they're like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday only kind of thing, or maybe just Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But it's just a little shack. You go up to it, you order it, and you get on out of town.
Gotcha.
And there's good barbecue in Sims. The mayor of the town owns the Hickory Pit,
That's what I was going to say.
and he's got a lot of awards for his sauce as well. And I do enjoy Hickory Pit. Their pulled pork sandwich is outstanding. Just about every time I go in there, it is perfect. I've really developed this love of pulled
They're
pork sandwiches.
always full. They're always busy. It seems
It's
like-
because it's town hall.
Yeah. Oh, it's just-
That's one of the reasons that Brandon
I didn't
became
know that.
mayor, was because the first two mayors there were just unlikable people. And people would go to Brandon's for breakfast and sit all the way through lunch complaining about these mayors, these city councils that we have. And then finally said, Brandon, why don't you run for mayor? You've got more common sense than anyone in town. And he did, and he's done wonders with the city. We're getting the Publix in Sims,
Yep.
big shopping center. And it may be a good location for the mac and cheesery too.
Ooh.
But that's off in the future. But I do want to hit on some of the highlights from the Nappy Awards. I mentioned that Mobile has finally learned how to pick a brunch spot. For years, they had picked a chain restaurant, not from here, that honestly is not very good. But this year, they hit it out of the park. Now, again, not local to Mobile, but local to the South.
Okay.
And you've been there, Big Bad Breakfast,
Yes.
which is owned by John Currents, who's probably the most accomplished chef in Southern history. So I have no qualms with him coming to town.
It's very good.
Yeah. And so thank you, Mobile, for finally figuring out what a good brunch spot is. But
Right
Mike
next
and-
to the dude drop in.
Mike and I were up for best DJ team. We
Oh,
did
really?
not win.
Oh.
Went to Bill and Shelby,
Yeah.
which it usually does. I want to hit best morning show DJ, Mobile Mornings with Dan Brennan and Dalton Orwick, which I believe that is on some station called FM Talk 106.5.
Yeah.
Best talk radio host and show, Midday Mobile, Sean Sullivan. Yeah, the boss man. Best new restaurant, Slurp Society, which is an Asian restaurant on Michael Street that Mike tried, loved, and then I told him it was healthy and he hadn't been back. This one warms my heart. Best chef, Osman Ahmedovic of Osman's Restaurant. This guy is a legend. He came from one of the countries that used to be Czechoslovakia, Bosnia, I believe. But I usually, when I say what it is, he corrects me, and I get the country wrong. But Osman is a legend in this town. Best lunch spot, Mediterranean Sandwich Company. Hard to argue with that. Eastern Shore, Panini Pete's.
Yeah.
Also hard to argue with. Best annual food event or cook-off, Greek Fest. If you and your wife haven't been,
No, we can go every year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm a
I
baklava guy.
love
I
that
have to
event.
get baklava there, man.
oh yeah. Best caterer, Naaman's Catering. Best burger, Butch Cassidy's Cafe.
Hoo-ah.
And a couple of other ones I want to mention. Best Italian, Roma Cafe. Airport and Cody Road. I used to work there, helped them open up. And Ian has done an incredible job. And finally, Mobile has figured it out after years of Mike and I telling them, go to Sims for pizza and eat at Sims
Yeah.
House of Pizza.
Sims House Pizza.
They won best pizza in Mobile.
We order it at least once a week from there. At least once a week from there.
Yeah. And Chris Brill is another one of those restaurateurs that will give his employees the shirt off his back. He just takes such good care of his people. He's got servers that have been there with him pretty much since he opened. And
we
he's
go in,
on 10
sit
years. Now.
down, just they're perfect.
Only fried mozzarella that I ever care to eat. And that's because they make it in-house every day.
Trying to think of what the half.
Calzone?
Yes.
Yeah, great calzones. Oh, look at there. 251-343-0106. When we get back, we'll wrap this up, put a bow on it.
A butter and egg man from way out in the west. At Gulf Coast Auto Tech, our master certified technicians understand the importance of excellent customer service, so we take the time to explain your car's needed repairs and give honest advice. Call Gulf Coast Auto Tech for dealer quality repairs without the dealer prices on Halls Mill Road. For more than 50 years, Mobile Bay Magazine has showcased the history, style, arts, dining, and entertainment that defines excellence on both sides of Mobile Bay. Each month's issue is filled with our unique Southern Alabama culture, beautifully captured and told through engaging articles and stunning photography. When you subscribe to Mobile Bay Magazine, you'll be swept into the pages where recipes, familiar places, and faces, and untold stories abound. Start your journey today by visiting MobileBayMag.com. That's MobileBayMag.com.
On location that
Dalton Norwood here with Brian Comer from Tobias and Comer Law and Law 251. And Brian, let's talk about something that's affected far too many people, and that's DUIs. That's right. Unfortunately, we've seen a huge uptick, it seems, in people who've been injured by DUIs. Alabama ranks in one study fifth in the country on DUI fatalities, and it's something that we need to try to avoid. For those that are out there driving under the influence, there's civil consequences and there's legal consequences. Obviously, there's the criminal side of it where the drunk driver can get prosecuted, but also on the civil side of it, you're exposing yourself to compensatory damages for causing injury, but also punitive damages for deciding to drive while impaired. Tobias and Comer Law, you guys cover a lot more than just victims and DUI accidents. Folks can see everything about you at TobiasComerLaw.com, and they can also call for a free consultation. You can reach us at 251-432-5001. And also, while you're there at the website, check out top 5 things to know about DUI accidents. That's Brian Comer, Tobias Comer Law, and Law 251. Attention Medicare beneficiaries. Are you getting all the benefits you need? If you have Medicare, you may now be able to get new benefits. Benefits may include eyeglasses, wellness visits, gym membership, meal delivery, and hearing aids with low copay. To find out which benefits you qualify for and to find out if you're getting the benefits that you deserve, you need to call Best Medicare. Licensed insurance agents can look at your current benefits and tell you what additional benefits are available to you. It's easy, just one call. Tell us the deductibles you prefer, the doctors you want to see, and if you want prescription drug coverage. The service is free and you have no obligation. You may even find plans with zero monthly plan premiums, zero copays on many services, and zero deductibles. You deserve every medical care coverage benefit out there, and we'll help you get them. Call 800-431-6905. 800-431-6905. That's 800-431-6905. And let Best Medicare do the work for you. Hello again, friends. I'm Randy Bergen, inviting you to join me, Coach Rick Cleveland, and Coach Ford Lassiter for the Prep Sports Report presented by Alpha, and we'll be coming to you live from the Easier Short Toyota and Hyundai Studios for 2 hours, beginning at 8 a.m. every Saturday morning. We'll visit with coaches, athletes, administrators, and more as we'll keep you up to date on all things prep along the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, Florida, and the state of Alabama. Wake up for the Prep Sports Report team this Saturday morning starting at 8 a.m. right here on FM Talk 106.5. To get on the line, call 343-0106. Now back to Mike and Stu.
And you're listening to Sip and Chew with Mike and Stu. I'm your host, Chef Stuart Rev Donald, owner of the Mac and Cheesery, soon to be open on Dolphin Street in downtown Mobile. How soon? I don't know.
That's what I was just about to ask. How soon?
Yeah, I think we had our fire inspections on Friday.
Okay.
That leaves us 4 more inspections.
4 more.
Yeah.
So you got to go through 5 inspections.
There's 1 for fire, 1 for electrical, 1 for gas, 1 for plumbing. And when those are done, each city, because we're going to make sure with the gas that we're not going to blow anybody up.
Well, I was thinking electrical and fire, wouldn't it be the same thing?
Yeah, I would think, but maybe not. They probably overlap, but they have specific things. Plus, they got to justify having these jobs. And,
okay.
But they are, and all of it is in the interest of public safety, employee safety.
And
it needs to be done. Yeah. And then once those are done, then the county can come in and do our initial health inspection to make sure we're up to code on that. Then once the health department signs off on it, then we can throw the open sign up.
off to the races.
Right. And then it doesn't stop ever. But Mike, the other co-host, Mike Bailey, a 35 plus year wine veteran, is in Kansas City eating barbecue because that's what his life is now.
Probably having something along with that.
I'm sure. Hopefully, he's trying some of the local craft beer. I like to do that when I travel, because craft beer is a local product.
Sure.
Alcohol is. That's
Absolutely.
usually what I do. Now, if I'm in a town in Kentucky and they've got a local distillery, I'm going to try their bourbon or something like that. Or like Lincoln, Nebraska. I bet you've been there.
Oh,
right?
a couple of times.
Great city to have a steak in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everyone. The Applebee's there has great steak.
Yes.
That's how good the steak is in Nebraska. But they have Boulevard Wheat is their signature town. It was the first real Hefeweizen that I had. Fell in love with it. And then Blue Moon came out, which is a Hefeweizen.
Right.
That's made by the Coors distillery.
Yeah.
Best thing Coors makes. Love Blue Moon. But
Never had it. Never had it.
It's a wheat beer. It's cloudy.
No,
But yeah, when I travel, I usually do the craft brew. My ex and I, when we would travel, she would always limit me to barbecue once per trip because I can eat it every meal. But after one meal, she's had barbecue now.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Yeah.
So that was a good little, we always
Balance
did
out.
barbecue.
Yeah.
And when we went to North Dakota, I saw we were driving through Kansas City. That's where I got my barbecue at a place called Smokehouse.
Yep.
And it was very good. And Stretch and I talked about
very good.
it was very, very
Okay,
good.
there we go.
But
Most
Stretch
people
and I
do
talked
not
about
know.
it, and we both had the same opinion. It's too pretty to be a barbecue place.
Yeah.
It's very pretty.
Right.
But I
Well,
also,
here in the South, we're used to shack barbecue.
yeah. And that's what a barbecue place should look like.
Yeah, that's what
very
that's our
casual.
interpretation.
But it was a beautiful restaurant that had great barbecue.
Yeah.
So that was good. But so Mike is gorging himself on burnt ends and whatnot as
some
we
of the stuff
speak.
he's been posting on Facebook is I mean, it's mouthwater just to look at. I
Yeah.
can't even imagine what he's getting.
And just for the record, folks, he ain't taking none of that home. He's eating every bite. We went over to Pascagoula and went to Tay's. He got the big sample platter. He said, "Yeah, I'll take the rest of it home." There was nothing left. It all got wiped out.
You were mentioning every time when you bring food in, Mike will sit here and you don't hear anything from Mike during that segment because he's savoring
Every bite.
Yeah.
He wants to take it in. He's analyzing the texture. He's analyzing the play of the spices. Stuff like. I mean, he's taking it very
It's
seriously.
tough because radio you have to hear though.
Yeah. I mean, 10 seconds of dead air and people are changing channels.
Right.
10 seconds comes fast in
Oh, yeah.
here. It feels like an hour to the person driving down the
Oh,
street.
trust me, and if you're running a show and there's nothing there, it feels like an hour.
Yeah. It's panic time. But want to make sure that we thank all of our fine sponsors, the good folks at Butch Cassidy's Cafe there, Flo Shell, good Roy Seaver, won Best Burger in Mobile for the Nappies, well earned.
Indeed.
Poppy seed bun,
Oh,
little kiss of Worcestershire and a special season.
okay, you can stop now.
Yeah. And another one of our sponsors won a Nappy Award. That would be Bob's Downtown Restaurant or Diner, whatever you want to call it. I don't think Tony cares. As long as you come in there and spend your money and have fun with them. And it is a fun place. They welcome everyone in there. And unfortunately, they treat you like they've known you forever.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
you may be there a while. Enjoy it. Yeah.
And also want to mention the fine folks at Le Bouchon Wine and Tapas Bar over in Daphne. I kind of split the difference between Mike and the rest of the world. Tapas.
Okay.
Yeah. I leaned into because Southerners have elongated diphthongs.
Right.
And for those of you who don't,
I do.
folks who don't know what a diphthong is a vowel sound that is made by combining two other vowel sounds.
Not something you wear.
Right. And the classic example is the letter I, which is actually ah and e said very quickly together. I. Yeah. I.
So if you're going to say, how you doing?
Yeah. I also want to mention the good folks at Hall Sausage and Wholesale Meats there on Iroquois in Chickasaw.
Yeah, quantities.
Yeah. And you can get more than just wholesale meat there. They do the big hoop cheese. They got the red rind hoop and the green rind hoop. That's the, big wheel.
Okay, the wheel.
Yeah.
I'm thinking hoop. I'm thinking like a loop.
No,
Okay.
it's the big wheel with the wax cover. It's called hoop cheese. They also have a really good pepper jack.
From the Midwest and almost Wisconsin.
Yeah. Well, you can't know everything about the Midwest.
Well, we had a place just north of where I grew up, Atwood, Kansas, that made Colby cheese, and that
which is a type of cheddar.
Right. It was always confusing because Colby, Kansas, was just 30 miles south of Atwood,
and they didn't make any
they
cheese
didn't
at
make
all.
any cheese. But very strange.
Yeah.
But anyway,
you get up to Wisconsin and you start getting in the Canadian food, the
Right.
poutine.
What?
Poutine. French fries with gravy and cheese curds.
Oh, that stuff.
Which sounds like something a Southerner should have invented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it ain't.
But down here, we just call it gravy fries. So
I always wondered where that came from.
yeah, gravy fries is just French fries with gravy on it,
Okay.
brown gravy.
I got you.
I'm trying to remember, am I missing anyone? Les Bouchon, I got them, I got Halls, I got Butch Cassie's, I got Tony's place down there, Bob Town down there. Okay, I want to make sure I don't want to.
And you got all the award winners.
Yeah, I don't want to skip any of our fine sponsors because they're what keep us on the air.
Exactly.
They're what make it so that Mike can go to Kansas City and gorge on barbecue.
And come back and tell us all about it.
Yeah.
Bring us pictures, not the food.
Right, exactly. He may bring us some sauce. And if you ever go anywhere and you go to a barbecue place, if they have a little to-go sample of their sauce, by all means, bring some back. Mike loves to try barbecue sauces from around the country, especially the ones that make their own.
Isn't there's a barbecue place? Speaking, we've been talking mostly barbecue a lot this morning, but barbecue is you head into Mississippi, the shed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the Orensons, and it ain't little.
No, anymore. I
Yeah.
a little, but no, it's delicious.
It is, to me, that is that Southern Mississippi super, super sweet.
Yeah.
And they drench it in sauce, and they do a great version of it, but it's not what I grew up with, so it's kind of odd to me.
I got you.
But there are also Hokey's Barbecue in Loosedale is very good.
Yes.
And
so
there's
a hickory hog.
I have not tried the hickory hog yet, but the plan is there. And then there's another one on out of Loosedale, Bodine's, I think it is. I hadn't tried, or Boudreaux, something like that. But we got to go, folks. Be kind to your servers. Servers earn those tips, and above all else, provolone.
You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.